Good morning, everybody. I was going to say good afternoon. It's still good morning. My name's Nick Ethelstone, and I'm Head of Information and AI with the Mining Remediation Authority.
And good morning. I'm Ian Skeavington. I'm the Principal Data Manager in Information and AI for the Mining Remediation Authority.
Thanks for joining us today. This is the second webinar in our series around data and information. And what we're going to talk to you about today is supporting the public sector with our data. So just to give you a little bit of a run through on what we're going to talk about, a little bit of background on where you might come across us, the data we hold and the background to it, some information around public sector data licensing, and then we've got a couple of case studies as well, again, around where organisations, public sector organisations might come across us, where you might be working with us, or there might be opportunities in the future as well. And then a little bit around how we can support and some conclusions and questions at the end as well. So just to cover a little bit of background around where you might come across us and to cover one of the key things at the moment, many of you might previously have known us as the Coal Authority. And in 2024, just to better reflect the work that we undertake, we actually changed our name to the Mining Remediation Authority. So couple of things, just a bit of a run through around what we do with that, but also to talk about sort of why we changed our name as well. So some of the areas of things that we do, we keep people safe and provide peace of mind. So as you can see, some of the key statistics, we undertook nearly 10,500 mine entry inspections last year, investigated and assessed nearly 900 hazards and substance claims, and nearly the same again in terms of tip inspections. In terms of our data, we delivered 126,000 mining reports. We issued 1,600 permits. So that's our permitting team when somebody wants to undertake works to intersect with our property. And we provided over 9,000 planning consultation responses. On the environmental side of things, we treat mine water and manage mine water to the tune of 231 billion litres. And we undertook, we prevented 4,000 tonnes of iron from entering watercourses. We also do quite a lot of work around advisory services, so income generated through our advisory services as well. You may come across us providing those services. And we've also developed a number of byproducts and other products as well, which are available in the market. So a little bit around our data. So we hold the national database of coal mining information. And one of the key things here is it covers the whole of Great Britain, so England, Scotland, and Wales, in terms of coal mining history. The data itself, so that comes from 120,000 plans. They're stored here in our purpose-built facility in our Mansfield office, and that covers both surface and underground mining data. And that goes all the way back to the 17th century. So a vast amount of background information which makes up our data sets. The reason why we've got this is since 1872, there's been a requirement for coal mine operators to deposit plans with the Secretary of State. So that's the reason why it's such a large data set that has such great coverage across the whole of Great Britain as well. And then we've just got a little bit of a list of the different ways that you can access our data as well. Everything from our interactive map viewer, which is free to look at, provides a range of information and data for you to see to certain scales, data licenses, physical plans, which is important, and we'll touch on that again later in terms of the physical information. Then various web mapping and web feature services, downloads, direct downloads of data, and then through Resilience Direct as well. And as it says here, so our purpose-built archive is our mining heritage centre, which is here in Mansfield. Just pass over to Ian now.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, so again, sort of feeding on from where sort of Nick left off there. You know, we have a lot of data available, and we absolutely encourage the use of our data by public sector organisations. And so we've listened to feedback, and to that note, in April 2024, we were able to establish a free-to-use public sector data license. And you know, that's for people to be able to use with their sort of core roles and statutory purposes. And also, subject to a license, contractors can also benefit from this as well. You can see a list of 22 data sets there on the screen, which is shown on the slide, and they're updated each month. And at present, we have 51 public sector licenses in place. So now we can sort of move on to how we're able to use the data, the public sector license. So we can see there's you know, themes around sort of planning and new development, making conditions making decisions on ground conditions. I will just take a moment just to note the coal mining risk assessments here. You'll see this appear on this slide and the next slide. For the purpose of this slide, this is purely for sort of statutory duties. And as we can see, other things such as like groundwater management and developing proposals. So if we move across to this next slide, you will see that we do also have some chargeable data sets available as well. And this is where you'll see coal mining risk assessments there again. So this is when the assessments are done for essential financial gain, which again, we have the notes around uses for financial gain there. And then some of our environmental data is also chargeable as well.
Thanks, Ian. So, as I said in the introduction, we're just going to talk through a couple of case studies to you today around where our data and information are used as well, where your organisations might already have it in different parts of that organisation, and we'll come on to after this as well where you can access it and how you can access it and how we can work with you as well if we haven't. So the first case study is a little bit around the planning and development sectors and the work we do there and our data and information. So to aid the identification of coal mining features that could pose a risk to development, and these are mainly the sort of shallow features that are going to have some sort of impact on the surface, to give an idea of what those are. So mine entries, workings down to circa 30 metres, things like that. We created something called the development high risk area. So this splits the coalfield down into a low risk area and a high risk area. And what the high risk area does is identifies where the Mining Remediation Authority should be consulted on a planning application, and where consideration does need to be given to coal mining features as well. So so that's something to try and help in terms of decision making, making things easier to signpost where there might be risks that need to be considered. And from that, each year we provide our data to 180 local planning authorities who are located on the coalfield as well. So it's not all planning authorities, and that can vary a great deal. So at one end, you have some areas that have a very, very small amount of historical coal mining, up to some local authority areas who have a lot across the whole area, and it's something where they're consulting us many times each year about new development. we provide our data either through data download. So the way we used to do it and the way many organisations local authority organisations used to take our data was through a download or a WMS feed. But we do also have a new WFS feed as well, which some organisations have already signed up to. And again, at the end, we will point to where you can come and talk to us if you want some more information, support, the licenses to make that happen as well. So that's a little bit around the sort of how we work with local authorities on the planning side of things. But we also work with a range of other government bodies as well, and their consultants in terms of being consulted on planning applications or seeking information, data from us. And that's usually a lot earlier in the planning process when they're thinking about optioneering for new infrastructure, as I say, such as roads, rail investment, with any of those things as well. So and we're really open to engagement at all those different times in the process as well, and do really actually welcome if you've got a project or something that's been taken forward, come and speak to us as early on as you possibly can in the process as well. And just sort of a little bit of a sort of plug here as well, in terms of we're talking around our data and how it supports the public sector today. But I think one of the other points that it's good to make is that that's the starting point of the data can help you identify if there's coal mining risks, but to fully understand that, there's a necessity to go back to the original source material, the plans, to look at what they're actually telling you, to check that information as well through detailed mining risk assessments as well. And there's plenty of consultants and organisations out there who can help in terms of doing that work as well. And as we've said before, those consultants, if they're working for you on anything to do with sort of public task, they can also access our data for free as well, which is one of the key things to get across here today. So the second case study we were going to just run you through something slightly different. So this is around local resilience forums. So the Mining Remediation Authority became Category 2 responder in 2023. And this was very much around encouraging and increasing cooperation and information sharing with other emergency organisations as well. So others better understand who we are, what we do, the sort of information we have as well. And one of the sort of key things here, a statistic that you'll hear us talk about a lot, is approximately 25% of all the homes and businesses in Great Britain are located on the coal fields as well. And as we've already talked about, we responded to, assessed and investigated around 900 mining hazard and substance claims last year. So it's something where we do want to really sort of help promote the data and information that we have, so everyone can understand if it is an incident related to coal mining, you've got the information, you've got the contacts, you've got the data that you might need to help in terms of that decision making as well. So in terms of working with the local resilience forums, we've developed a series of reports which set out the nature and extent of coal mining features that might be encountered by other organisations in that resilience area as well. So again, just helping to really paint a picture and show you in an accessible way what might be going on below the ground as well. And on the back of this as well, it's possible to access our data sets directly. So it's not only in report format, you can come to us and we'll work with you. So you can get hold of those data sets themselves and use them if you'd like to as well. So, and again, I've touched on it, but our data is varied. And while we are known as the organisation that has coal mining data and geological features, we do also have a lot of other assets around the environmental information we hold. So we run and operate a number of mine water treatment schemes across the coal field. We monitor mine water in some areas as well. So there's quite a bit of information that we hold on that sort of data as well. Back to Ian.
Thanks, Nick. Okay, so yeah, going to look at sort of how we can support you, and you know, as we've tried to, I think, express during this webinar today, is we are absolutely here to support people with their ongoing work. You know, we're able to provide sort of specialist and technical guidance. And all we would ask is that you just engage with us at your earliest opportunity, and we can discuss with you, you know, what data sets are available, how they can be used, and sort of help work with you. Our mining consultants and information managers are absolutely brilliant. They're experts in understanding the plans and also, you know, the sort of nuances of licensing and things in those areas as well. And we are also available to advise on sort of large infrastructure projects as well, although, as you'll note on the slide, it says some elements of that might be chargeable. Yeah, I guess it's just for me to reiterate, you know, we are absolutely here to help, and we want to help, and that we've got making those data sets free to public sector organisations. You know, the data is here to use, and we're sort of waiting to work with you. I guess the one thing to call out is that we do need to have a licence in place, though, for that to take place. As Nick sort of previously mentioned, we do hold a wide range of coal mining and other data sets that are available to be discussed. So please do get in touch. The earlier, the better. One thing that is worth checking is just to check inside your own organisations, as other people may have already licensed the data, so you may already have a license in place if it's being used in sort of different areas. But if you sort of any concerns, or if you want to sort of check any licensing that you may have in place, again, please feel free to sort of contact us at the email address that you can see there on the slide. Yeah, we will do our very best to help any sort of data queries that you may have. Thank you very much.